What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Thanks for clicking on another episode of Break the Silence. I am your host, Cyborg, and we just got done watching a dominating win by the Denver Nuggets over the Houston Rockets, 129-93. This is a game I was anticipating because it's two teams in the Western Conference that really needed a win. The Nuggets have kind of been struggling as of late. They've lost 4 of their last 6 games, but they came out with a huge W tonight, and this was really a statement win. The Nuggets are now a half game out of the 3 seed in the Western Conference. Between the 3 and the 7 is only separated by a half game. So it'll be really interesting to see how this finishes down the stretch. In the Western Conference, in my opinion, there are 3 teams capable of winning that conference. The Oklahoma City Thunder, the San Antonio Spurs, and the Denver Nuggets. And if you would ask my pick before the season, it would have been the Denver Nuggets. So far this year, they've dealt with a ton of injury issues. Obviously, Nikola Jokic, we saw, had a pretty bad knee injury a few months ago. I believe it was early January. Aaron Gordon's been out for a while. Cam Johnson's been out for a while. And they've just really felt like they had guys in and out of the lineup a lot. So as we are watching them here in these coming games, we hope to finally have a good feel for what this Nuggets team is capable of this year, because coming into the year, I love this roster. I love some of the moves they made. It feels like they added some real depth that maybe they didn't have last year when they took the Thunder to 7 games. And, you know, it felt like they had a real chance to come out of the West last year. So that's why I would have picked them coming into the season, because you take that roster last year that was right on the brink of beating what was the best team in basketball last year and make it a little better. I thought that they had real capability to win the Western Conference this year. So tonight, they obviously had a huge statement win over the Rockets. The Rockets are a very competitive basketball team in the Western Conference. They have Kevin Durant, Amen Thompson, Şengün, a lot of really good players. But tonight, the Nuggets really thrived both on the offensive end of the court and the defensive end of the court. We know that this is the best offense in basketball for the Denver Nuggets, led by Nikola Jokic, who I still believe is the best player in basketball. I'll get into that in a second. But tonight, defensively, they were very, very impressive. The Nuggets won every single quarter of this game. They were up by 6 at halftime, really came out in the third quarter and made a statement, winning that quarter 40-22. So they went into the fourth quarter with a 24-point lead and went ahead and brought it home. So they held Kevin Durant tonight to 11 points, Jabari Smith Jr. to 11 points, Şengün to 10, Amen Thompson to 16, and Tari Eason to 8 points. All of their starters. That's pretty underwhelming games from all of them, and really impressive stuff by this Denver Nuggets defense. On the flip side, it was a pretty balanced game. You saw a lot of good performances by the Nuggets from multiple different players. Jamal Murray had 30. Obviously, we know what he represents. He's been one of the best playoff players for a long time. This year, finally made an all-star game and has really had an awesome season. He had 30 tonight. Nikola Jokic did what he does. 16 points, 13 assists, 12 rebounds, and 5 steals. Cameron Johnson, 17 points, 4 assists. Christian Braun, 19 points. Those are all their starters. Aaron Gordon didn't do a whole lot tonight. He's still in limited minutes with 22 minutes. Jokic was a plus 27 for the game. And then off the bench, Tim Hardaway Jr. gave you 14 and Valanciunas gave you 12. So that's where I think that we are really able to see some improvements by this Nuggets roster, is because you have Valanciunas coming off the bench. You brought Bruce Brown back. He gave you 7 points. But you're talking about having more guys that are just playable players when you get around to the playoffs. And last year it felt like they were maybe a guy or two short. And especially when you're going up, I think the modern NBA is really built around depth and, having enough quality players that can go play in a playoff series. In the regular season, a lot of teams will go 10 guys deep, 9-10 guys deep on any given night, especially with injuries, all that kind of stuff. When you get down to the playoffs, it does limit a little bit, but you still have to be able to have quality players coming off your bench that can provide different skill sets and different challenges. And it's where the Thunder have, they're bringing guys like Alex Caruso off the bench who can defend at a high level, hit the 3 ball. And it has so much impact. You look at that Celtics team that won the finals a few years ago. They brought Porzingis off the bench in the NBA Finals and he presented a unique matchup for the Dallas Mavericks that really played a big part in a couple of those games. So the Nuggets this year now have the ability to have some scoring off the bench with Tim Hardaway Jr., Bruce Brown, Valanciunas, and they still have that really good starting lineup that is arguably the best starting lineup in the NBA. I wanted to touch on something in particular with the Nuggets because it's not something that I have really hit on a lot this year because of the fact that, the Nuggets have had a lot of guys in and out of the lineup, and Jokic was out for a little while, so I haven't got to cover the Nuggets as many times as I'd like to. But Nikola Jokic, there's been a lot of conversation about who is the best player in the NBA right now. Now, obviously, there's some guys who have had really great years. Victor Wembanyama in particular, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, we know he won the MVP and the Finals MVP last year. To me, the best player on the planet has to be reserved for someone who's done it for a long period of time. And I think Nikola Jokic has built such a long runway that one great year from Shai on a really, really good basketball team is not enough to push him over the top. When you could have given Jokic the MVP last year, you could give him the MVP this year. Certainly could be very deserving. Now, obviously, we saw Shai hit a huge shot against the Nuggets a few nights ago. But all in all, I still believe Jokic has earned the title of best player on the planet. And there's been a lot of conversation about Wemby. I saw it on Fox Sports 1. Chris Broussard claimed that he thought Wemby was the best player on the planet. Again, I think you have to prove it. And proving that is winning MVPs, it's winning playoff series, and it's winning NBA championships. You don't just get it because you have impressive games in the regular season. Yes, we know that Wemby represents a challenge that few players have ever represented, obviously with his length and size and ability to do so many things at a high level. But Jokic has been doing that for a very long time. And this year, we know that Jokic is probably going to break the PER record, which was his own record, but he's going to smash it. I believe it was by like 2 points. He's up on it right now. So, and for the season, he's averaging 29 points, 12.5 rebounds, and 10.3 assists. He'd be the first player ever to be number one in the NBA in both rebounds and assists. So let's slow the brakes a little bit on, coronating Victor Wembanyama and some of these younger guys who haven't proven it year after year. Now, if the Thunder go and they win the next 2 championships and Shai gets up to 3 MVPs, I mean, you do start to have those conversations, obviously. But some level of the roster surrounding them has to be considered in these conversations because that Thunder roster is so good even without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Now, the Nuggets have really good players. Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, those guys are all-star level players. But that whole team and that whole system does not work without Nikola Jokic and what he represents. So, again, I just would caution people in these conversations to jump the gun so much. So, all in all, highly impressive game tonight by the Denver Nuggets, beating a good Rockets team. And we hope they have a really good stretch run. Obviously, we're getting late in the season. And if you're able to finish the season in that 3 seed, that would be preferable because you don't want to end up, down there at the 5-6 seed and start on the road in the first round. Because once you get to the second round and you're playing, whether it's the Spurs or the Thunder, whoever it winds up being, you just want to make sure that you've at least had one series that you were at home and maybe finish that one quickly so you're able to get into those next series healthy, maybe a little rested, so that you're not, those are going to be dog fights of series when you get there. So all in all, I'm highly excited for this Nuggets team. I think that they have a lot of potential. I'm excited that they're healthy again, hopefully, finally. And I'm hoping that it'll stay that way for the rest of the season. That's all we got for you. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Appreciate y'all watching. Cyborg out.